Start your day with Quaker Protein Instant Oatmeal. The instant oatmeal ready to help you tackle whatever your day brings. Like wrangling your toddler into their car seat. That was fun. Coaching your 6th graders soccer team. Go girls! And carrying all the groceries in one trip. Whew. Try Quaker Protein Instant Oatmeal, granola, and bars. Great taste and a good source of protein. Quaker, bring out the good.
What's up? I'm Delaney Fisher, host of the Self-Helpless podcast, where science, spirituality, and sustainability are brunch buddies. Each week, I explore the cutting edge of personal growth with leading specialists who share paradigm-shifting insights. Come hang out with us. You can subscribe to Self-Helpless wherever you get your podcasts.
You have to do work around your words, your mindset, your relationship to your own body. Do the kids in my life see me taking time to move my body? Do they see that it's important to me? Or do they see me avoid it because I choose to do everything else instead? Do they see you also prioritizing movement just for yourself? Because they want to be like you. I guarantee you they look up to you. They see what choices you make. We're clearing the path for them in the future when they are in their 20s, maybe even in their 30s. And they say, I have my own kids now and I want to prioritize movement, and I can do it because I saw my mom do it. The person I looked up to the most, she did it. So that means I can do it too. I'm Jessica Vallant. I'm a physical therapist, women's health expert, and Pilates teacher, and my goal is to help all women feel strong, safe, and secure in their bodies. In this podcast, I'll share expert advice, facts, amazing guests, stories, compassion, and hope to help you meet your body in all seasons of life. Hi, and welcome back to Meet Your Body. We have a super important conversation today. We're talking about kids and exercise, and this is actually the first in a 2-part series. So today, I am talking about, as I said, kids and exercise. And this is going to be a discussion around what that means. Like, what does that actually look like? The importance of exercise and movement for kids, but also kind of the requirements around that. But mostly how you can get your kids to move and exercise with a positive mindset, with positivity around movement. So we're talking about lots of tools and ideas in that regard. All right. Movement in general, exercise in general for kids, when it should start, what it looks like, how you can incorporate it at home. Next week, we're going to have part 2, which is an amazing interview with Gary Linton. And we are talking about kids in sports. I can't tell you how vital this conversation is. If you are a parent, if you are a caretaker, if you are a coach, if you work with kids in any capacity whatsoever, and they are involved in youth sports, you have to listen to this conversation about how we can keep our kids healthy and happy when they are involved in youth sports. So tune in next week for part 2 for that discussion. Today, we're going to talk about kind of the broader idea of kids and exercise. So let me give you a little context. I am a physical therapist, as you know. I have worked with kids, so I have that background. I am also a mom. I have a 12-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. So that puts us in 2nd grade for our son and 7th grade for our daughter. And so we very much, my husband and I, have had many discussions throughout the years, and I know we will continue to have many discussions about the best way to keep our kids active. And it's an ongoing discussion. And so I wanted to put it out here again, with kind of the science behind it, what you should know as a parent or a caretaker, or just anyone who works with kids. Like maybe you're a physical education teacher, maybe you're a physical therapist like me, any capacity that you work with kids. This is going to be an important conversation because it really is so much more detailed and nuanced than just go outside and play, especially if you are trying to create purposeful and intentional movement habits for your kids. Go outside and play is an important instruction to give them, all right? I am not telling you not to do that. I am saying that there's a lot more to it, especially in society today where these kids are on devices all day at school. That's a whole other discussion, right? But when they're on devices all day at school, we need to be intentional. We need to be purposeful, and we need to be guiding them on ways to stay active and also have a positive relationship with their body. So I'm going to give you, like I said, a lot of tools, a lot of ideas, with the most important one coming at the end. We're going to take the whole second half of the podcast to talk about the most important piece of this discussion. So stay tuned, stay with me, because you need to stick around to hear that piece. All right, so how can we keep our kids active and healthy while also offering a positive mindset and relationship to movement and their bodies? Because to me, you need both. Pushing exercise and movement is not worth it if it is going to cause a negative relationship with their bodies. All right. The flip side is, yes, you can teach that positive relationship with their body all day, which you should be doing. That's really important. We're going to talk about that over and over today. But you can't have it without the movement piece, because the movement piece is really what is going to help their muscles and their bones and their joints and their proprioception and their body awareness and resilience and all of that we need. So we really need both. So we're going to talk about both. I will tell you what the CDC says. So again, you can have a little context around this. The CDC says that kids age 6 to 17, so that's how they're defining this, 6 to 17 years old, need 60 minutes of daily moderate to vigorous physical activity to support their heart, their bones, their muscle health, and their mental health as well. That is included in their mental health. So that's 60 minutes, that's 1 hour of moderate to vigorous physical activity a day. I'm going to tell you right now, that takes purpose and intention to get. Now, it is easier for my 8-year-old. For a second grader, he still gets 2 recesses at school a day. A couple days a week, he gets his physical education class, his gym class, which he loves. So he is going to get it a little more easily at school. When I ask him what he did at recess that day, it is typically a combination of basketball, football, playing 500 and catch, or just running around. Like, he just comes home with really dirty shoes. I'm like, what did you do today? I just ran around in the gravel. Okay, great. Like, awesome. You're moving. So that is helpful. For my 12-year-old daughter, this is much harder. She's in middle school now. Okay. They don't get typical recesses. They do get one, they call it recess, but it's about 20 minutes after lunch that they go outside. So thank goodness they're getting fresh air. Like, that alone, yes, very beneficial. But you know this if you have kids. As they get older, that idea of just running around for the sake of running around, that doesn't happen anymore. Unless someone is there organizing a game or organizing some kind of sport, that isn't happening. So what I hear is the boys sometimes are off. Maybe they can find a ball to throw around. Okay. And my daughter loves sports. So she wants to be playing that sport, but she doesn't always feel comfortable, or she isn't always welcome, or sometimes it's just boys literally tackling each other. So she doesn't want to be a part of that. So she ends up standing with her friends. Maybe they walk around. Maybe they talk. None of this is judgmental, okay? I am not asking these 12-year-old girls to organize a soccer game every day on their recess. I am saying the truth of the matter, that as kids get older, they are losing that like automatic self-starter that really young kids have of, I'm just going to run around and it doesn't matter who I'm running around with. We're just going to play tag and we're going to have fun. When they get older, that doesn't happen as much naturally. So she isn't getting it automatically at school. And even my son, when he does get it, it's not an hour by any means at school. Like, he's lucky he gets 2 recesses. Thank goodness he's outside running around twice a day. So all that to say, the kids are not getting this at school. They are not getting moderate physical activity at school. All of that combined with the fact that they are on devices more and more at school. And again, that is not a discussion for today. I have thoughts about it. That's not a discussion for today. But in our society, kids are on devices all day long, okay, at school. Then what happens, and please know, I am not coming at this from a place of judgment. I am a mom who owns a business who feels pulled in 1,000 different directions. Just 10 minutes ago, I was sitting here thinking of all the things I still need to do today. And that my son's going to come home from school because my husband's going to take my daughter to her activities. So I'll be home with our son. And really, just 10 minutes ago, I thought, you know what? I could get so much more done if I offered to let him watch something. Like that just popped into my head. I also know I'm not going to do it, but I would get so much more done if I did. I would have like this extra big chunk of time to get things done. So I know that there is such a pull to do that, not only to use devices so that you can gain some time or just to take a breath, but also then for the older kids, for our daughter who's 7th grade, she comes home and she has to sit and do an hour and a half of homework at night some nights. So the time for them to be active just feels non-existent sometimes. So this idea of them getting an hour of moderate physical activity has to be intentional. And that's the minimum. Like that's the minimum kids should be getting. So much of what I say today, I am telling you right now, as a mama, as a caretaker, as someone who feels so busy that I just don't know where to find extra time. I don't. Like, that's how I feel right now. All the balls spinning in the air. I am telling you, one of those balls has to be helping our kids be more active. And it takes us doing it. Okay. It just does. And I'm going to lay that out right now, because I can't tell you, go tell your kids to run around outside. And they might, like they will with their friends. That's what I find. If I can set up play dates, or if I get my friends over and they bring their kids, that is going to happen more often, right? If they are in organized sports, which we talk about next week, and our kids are in organized sports, on those days that they have their practices, awesome. Our son had an hour-long soccer practice last night. He ran his little buns off. It was so great. And also, do you know who drove him? I did. I planned the outing and I washed the jerseys and I drove him to make sure that he was there, and I signed him up for it tonight. My husband's taking hours to pick our daughter up from school just so that she can go to her sports activity and be active. Like it takes you as a caretaker, or even you as a teacher, you as in whatever capacity, it's going to take you making this important for it to happen. And it just does. And so I'm going to lay it out so you're just ready and you can grab that and be like, okay, yep, got it. I'm going to have that understanding. We're on the same page. And now let's move forward. Okay. So that being said, it's going to take, yes, you being intentional, you making it a priority. You have to make it a priority and you have to make it something important. And then we can put these things into place, realizing our kids need to be more active. They just do. And it's more than just sports, okay? Which again, my conversation next week with Gary is awesome. We go into youth sports. There's so many wonderful things about youth sports. But I will say personally, I don't think, like when I hear this conversation or when I hear my kids need to be more active, I don't think, oh, I just need to sign them up for more sports. Because to throw my 2 cents in, our kids are also overloaded with activities, and they just are. We just tend to do that. Somehow it's gotten to that place as a parent that the more things your kids do, it's kind of like this, badge of honor as a parent that you've signed them up for everything and you're willing to drive everywhere. And it's always this kind of balance of, okay, yeah, we're going to be active. We signed you up for sports, but that means actually an extra hour in the car each way. Or it means staying up till, 9 p.m. for us for volleyball practice sometimes, or we're losing family time. There's lots of things to balance and assess with all of that. So I am not talking today about just adding more sports, which again, depending on your lifestyle, might be a great thing to do. That's why we have our 2nd grader in sports. We did not start our 3rd grader or our daughter until later. But with our son, it just felt right. He had energy and he wanted to do it and he loves soccer. And so we do it a couple days a week. So it's going to be different for each child and each family. But I'm not talking about just adding more organized sports today. I am talking about what you can do intentionally as a family and as a parent to get your kids moving more and for them to have a positive relationship with it. All right. So after all that, let's dive in and get started. So the first thing you have to do is make the atmosphere fun. You have to create an atmosphere of fun. Now, hear me say, I am not saying actually you have to make it fun, because even if you feel like you're making it fun, there will be times your kids roll their eyes at you. Like, I think we're doing such fun things sometimes, and I am informed in no uncertain terms that, Mom, that's actually not fun. Or I will get the eye roll of like, I don't want to do that right now. I don't want to move. I'll get the wine. I get it all. I post the family walks we go on. And I'm here to tell you, like, sometimes they want to do that with me, and sometimes they really don't want to do it with me. So I'm not saying you have to make it that they have to think it's fun all the time, because they won't. Because you don't, right? If you think about working out, is it fun for you every single time? Probably not. But you want to make an atmosphere of fun. It has to feel like play for kids. So maybe that's a playlist. Like, maybe it's music. You have to decide what motivates them and what motivates you, what's fun for you and your family, or you and the kids you're working with. So it might be music and playlists, letting them pick, or you put on a special one that's super fun. Maybe it's just a lot of laughter. You're like, okay, we are just going to make this so fun. And you laugh about things that you're doing. Maybe you come up with brand new games. Maybe you make it a competition. Some kids just think competitions are the most fun thing in the world. Let's see who can do the most or who can run the fastest. I will tell you, my son comes home from his gym class and he just loves it so much. He can't wait for gym day. He loves his gym day because they're always just playing. He always tells us the most fun games they're playing. So bless the gym teachers out there doing this, and our gym teacher specifically, who's always coming up with games that the kids love. Like Halloween week, they make it a theme. So you have to create an atmosphere of fun, whatever that means. And I think that's a moving target sometimes, at least with my kids. Like, what's fun one day, they will tell me is not fun the next day. But if you come at it with an attitude and an atmosphere of fun, that is like the number one thing you need to do with kids. It needs to be play, especially young kids. It's play. That's what it is. Okay. It's not working out, it's play. So, along with that, the next thing to think about is reframing it. With kids, I don't use, especially with my youngest, we're not using the words like workout necessarily. It's activity. And you can think of it that way. And it's fine to teach them the word workout. I have no problem with that. What I'm saying is you want it to be a bigger category of activity for kids. Unlike with us, especially us aging women that I talk about all the time, right? We have to lift weights 3 times a week. We have to do this 1 time a week. Like, we like structure. It works well for us. With kids, it doesn't need to be that way. And it's actually not usually super beneficial for it to be that way. Take off the rules and just make it activity. Like, did they do something to be active? Did they get their heart rate up? Are they breathing hard? Are they sweating? Anything like that. Soreness is not a good indicator usually with kiddos, because it's just a lot of times they'll do something hard and they don't feel it at all the next day. Or then sometimes they'll just do something new and they do feel it the next day. So I don't use that as an indicator with kids. Unless they're really sore, then I think we did something we shouldn't have. But that's actually never happened, because I think of it as activity. I think of it as play. Their bodies are meant to move in multiple planes of motion. They're meant to play. So reframe it with your kiddos in that way. It's activity. What can we do to be active? What can we do, guys, right now to use our bodies in a new way? Or what can we do that'll make our bodies feel kind of tired? Like, that's what we're going for. So do you guys have any ideas? Like, what sounds fun or what sounds good to do? So reframe it that way. Activity that makes them use their full body, all of their muscles, that makes them breathe hard, that makes them jump or run or climb. If you are in my Unlimited community and my Unlimited app, some of you know this workout I have called Primal Movement. And it is all about, like, we're crawling on the ground. We are using hip mobility to get on and off the ground in weird positions. It is the things the kids do automatically. And we kind of lose that as we get older. And so think of it that way. It's just all of these big muscle movements. That's how you want to reframe it with kiddos. Okay. And I'll go along this point because at some point you probably do want to incorporate and introduce a little more formal training with kids and or lifting weights and things like that. Again, this is going to be different for everyone. And it depends on your kid's understanding. It depends on their temperament. It depends on a lot of things. This is something that you can sometimes get in sports depending on their trainers and depending on their coaches. But in general, to me, 8 years old would be the earliest that I would introduce any kind of lifting of a weight. And even at 8, so our son is 8, the only reason we're introducing it is because he has seen it in his family forever. Since he was born, he's been around weights. We have him here at the house. He wants to learn. I can be right next to him while he's doing it. I do not at all let kids lift weights by themselves. And we're going to get to that point too. But never do I let them lift weights by themselves. Maybe once they're, 15, 14, 15, I would trust that they can do it by themselves around that age. So that will be touch and go for you. But if you are at a point you want them to lift weights, so how we do it in our house for that kind of intentional movement is once a week, we do what we call a family workout. I'm putting it in air quotes. That's just what we call it. That's our name for it. We set a 20-minute timer and we all go into our workout room together. Again, very intentional, very purposeful. We have spent months now, because it's kind of new for us, but we've spent months, my husband and I, teaching the kids various moves and exactly what weights they use for it. And we're talking very basic: bicep curls, shoulder press, squats, lunges. And I'm saying a very general category like that. And so we're there with them, and it's teaching them to be really empowered. They're learning how to use their body, how to lift a weight, like what that means. They're feeling a little stronger, but it's very gentle, like general idea, and we're there with them doing it. I am not at all saying we're going to do this 3 times a week. We're doing 3 sets of 10. That doesn't work with young kids, especially. But if you're looking to add weights, again, I think 8 years old is about the earliest. Personally, I probably would start to incorporate it a little bit by the time they're 10 or 12, because it is a great way for them to learn. It's a great way for them to build strength and learn body awareness. But again, it's going to look different. It still needs to be kind of fun. It needs to be empowering and those kind of things. So I wanted to tell you how we do the weights specifically. Again, it's just like 1 time a week right now. We're there as a family. We call it our family workout. And in that time, the kids probably use weights for about 10 minutes on and off. And that's fine with me for now. Okay, we will build more into it later. We have years to do that, but they're learning the value of kind of feeling strong in that way with weights right now. All right, again, a part of that reframing, that mindset, is making sure you tell them what exercise does for them, which also includes what you do not say. You do not ever say to kids, we are burning off what we ate this morning, right? Like, don't associate it with any kind of need to burn off food. You're not using it as punishment. You are using it to feel stronger, to feel energized, to jump higher, to run faster, to score that goal that you really want to eventually dunk that basketball. That is why we exercise, for fun, to do those physical things. That is how we should all have a mindset around movement. But especially kids, you want to start them off right, okay? That is what exercise and movement does for them. You can also work to relate it to the sports they do. So again, this works for our son who's just really into soccer. And we would say, okay, if having stronger legs will let you kick the ball harder into the goal. And you would think that that's just an automatic thing that they know. It is not. Okay, it's not. Kids need things put together, like A leads to B, cause and effect. Explain that to them. These are your leg muscles, like touch their leg. These are your leg muscles. So your muscles are the things that control your knee and control how hard you kick that ball. And the stronger that leg is, then the harder you can kick the ball. Or for us, the stronger that leg is, the more you can get the ball from a defender who's also fighting for it. But be really specific, and that can help sometimes. Again, each kiddo is different, but that can help just explain why. This is not just a thing we're doing just because. Like, it helps you be stronger so that you can do this, right? I also tell people, and this is how I think of it, even as a physical therapist, I don't worry too much about form with these young kids. I will more as they get older. And of course, if they're doing something dangerous, you're going to change their form, of course. But otherwise, just let them move. Like I don't do all these little micro tweaks for his wrists and his arms when he's trying to do a push-up. I'm just like, yeah, just try it. When he says, Mom, can I try that? Yeah, go for it, buddy. Let me see. Awesome. Like, yeah, of course you can try it. Like, yeah, let's try anything. I'll try it with you. And if I think that obviously he's going to get hurt, or if there's something I can do to help, I'll say, you know what? Can I just move your wrist a little bit this way? Try it like that. See what happens. And honestly, that's how I coach adults too, because there's just too much shame and too much idea that we're doing it wrong in movement. And there shouldn't be. Like, there's not really a right or a wrong. Sure, there are some ways that can be more efficient. There are some ways that can feel better. So we'll work on that. But just jump into it and try it. And that's what I tell kids. And then as they get older, so our daughter being 12, she's actually using our Pilates reformer now because she's the right height. She fits on the machine great. So something like that, it's safety and it's body awareness. And I am teaching her more about form, little bits and pieces. But don't make that the end all be all, because you will lose them. It needs to be, yeah, let's just try it and see. And then if you see something you want to change, like maybe their feet are really close together in a squat, say, you know what, let's try it like this together. I'm going to have my feet wider. Why don't you? And just tell me how it feels different. Like that actually might be easier. So that's something to know about form. I don't get down in the weeds with it with kids. And then with that, keep in mind, their brains are not fully developed, right? Meaning they don't have they just don't have enough life experience to have that body awareness, proprioception piece. So if you are across the room from them and you're saying, bend your knees more in that squat, or don't let your knees go past your toes, for the most part, they don't know what that even means. And even if they do know what it means, they're not going to be able to show it to you with their body. There's a body disconnect. It's just the age piece. So if you really need to help with form, get your hands on them and be like, hey, or show them with your own body. But getting into the weeds about form and then also with your words doesn't usually end up really well with kids, because they will simply get frustrated that they're not understanding what you're saying, or that they're not showing you what you want them to show you, and they will just check out. So you got to keep them engaged, which means keeping it positive, which means if you see the glassy eyes starting to happen, move on to a different activity. And then with that too, like if you are doing a really purposeful, kind of, okay, I want to teach my child weights, or especially if you have a daughter who's in dance, all right, weights and Pilates are imperative for them to include at some point. They need cross training. There's a lot there. So it can be really, really helpful. So let's say you say, okay, we're going to do 10 minutes of this a couple times a week. Like, let's do it together. And then add a fun game at the end. We always end up doing that with the kids. If we're doing that family workout, my husband is great at creating kind of games where he'll throw a ball and they have to do it together and it ends up being fun. Remember, that's a part of the workout. And then I want to reiterate what I said about it takes time and effort on you to do this. Like, hopefully you've kind of heard me say and give the general message that there's not really a wrong way to do this. You need to get the kids active. Like, we know this for their health. They need to be up out of their chairs. They need to be moving their body. Outside would be great. I know it's not always possible. They need to be moving for many reasons, for their health and especially their mental health. And also, it's going to take you to do it. Like, I am not here to say this is the exact right way to do it. This is the exact wrong way. This is how many minutes a day. This is when you do weights. This is when you do Pilates. No, I just want you getting your kids moving, okay? Especially if it's younger kids. And then, as I said, after around the age 12, maybe 13, I think that's a good time you can incorporate a little more structure around, okay, maybe we're going to lift weights together 2 times a week. Or again, with dancers, especially, and girls and gymnasts, let's do our Pilates together 2 times a week. Or maybe your daughter has a bunch of friends and they all want to do it as a part of their dance class. And you can approach the teacher and say, you know what, how would you feel about incorporating Pilates twice a week, like at the end of class for the girls or something? I mean, There are so many ways to do it. So you can definitely get more structured as they get older. But right now, I just want you focused on, can I get my kids moving more? Can I make it fun? And that includes you helping. I mean, it just does. So maybe this is a podcast really for you to say, what can you do to make time for it for the kids? And a lot of times I know I'm saying to myself, I don't want to get off this couch. I have been moving all day, but I have to get the kids moving. So games, tag, we have laser tag. And I'm telling you guys, I do not like bringing laser tag out. It's loud. It's kind of obnoxious, but they run around like crazy. And if I say to my kids together, hey guys, go play laser tag, guess what? They're not going to do it. But if I say, okay, guys, I'm going to play laser tag with you for 10 minutes, they get so excited and they bring it right to me. They want you involved. They want you involved. Set a timer. Do it for 10 minutes. Tag, laser tag. Ask them what games they're playing in gym if you do have young kids. Our son has come home and taught us so many games he's played at gym, and we just make it happen in our house. And we end up sweating and running all over the place. We play in the driveway all the time. Even if it's cold outside, we bundle up because they need fresh air. And we get outside and we play we just have a bin full of balls. Every ball you can possibly think of. So we get them all out and we go in the driveway and we stay out there for an hour. We play catch. We have mitts and a baseball. We play catch sometimes. We throw a football around. We play some game called 500 that they taught me. We play Foursquare. We hit the volleyball around. Play soccer against each other. I mean, we just go from one thing to another because it keeps them active and outside. And then with that, getting them moving and when you do it with them, will open up lines of communication. Again, our daughter being in 7th grade, if you remember yourself being in 7th grade, or if you have a middle schooler, they come home, they're dealing with a lot. Like it's a lot of life stuff that they're learning about themselves and their friends and where they fit in society, and they have homework suddenly, and there's a lot, okay? And they don't always want to verbally talk about it, but you as an adult know it's been a big day, right? A few weeks ago, our daughter came home and I knew something was going on. I had driven her home and not a lot of talking. And so we got in the house and my son was going to soccer with my husband. So they were leaving to go to an activity. And I said to my daughter, I'm like, okay, grab a drink of water and put your coat on. We're going on a walk. And literally I got Mom, rolling of the eyes. Mom, I don't want to. Okay, well, we are. So put your coat on. We live in the mountains and there was a herd of elk, which I know she loves. There was a herd of elk up the road. I'm like, let's go walk and see the elk. Oh, we can just drive. Mom, let's just drive. Just get your keys. I don't want to walk. No, honey, we're going to walk. Like I decided I was going to be the bad guy. That's what we were going to do. Driving would have been quicker. I would have gotten a quick hit of her being happy, but nope. I'm like, no, we're walking. We both bundled up and we started walking. And there was no talking. She didn't have anything to talk about. I wasn't going to push her. We walked in the freezing cold. We saw nature. We saw the creek that had frozen over. She ended up playing on the creek a little bit. We walked and saw the elk. By the time we got home, things were lighter. It wasn't that she sat and told me all her deepest secrets, but I watched the weight come off of her shoulders simply because we got out of the house. We moved our bodies and we did it together. That wouldn't have happened if I said, you need to go on a walk. It happened because we did it together and she knows she's safe doing that. So movement heals a lot, even when we don't see exactly what it is, but just incorporating that habit, you are doing something good for yourself and the kids you love. All right, I have one more big tip for you, and it's going to be the big one, okay? It's a big one, so buckle up. We're going to get into it, and we're going to walk through it together. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. Like just about every woman out there, I care about my skin. Not only the health of my skin, but also what my skin looks like, especially as an aging woman. I want to do everything I can to take care of it. The problem is, as I entered perimenopause, the typical products that I had been using suddenly weren't working anymore. My skin was much drier than it used to be. It was more sensitive. I was easily developing rashes. I also have some psoriasis, so I always have to be careful with that. So, as someone who wanted products that not only felt really good and wouldn't bother my skin, but also scientifically could help with wrinkles and fine lines and spots, it took me a while to find something to solve all of those issues. Enter OneSkin. With OneSkin, every formula is certified safe for sensitive skin, dermatologist tested, free from over 1,500 irritating ingredients, and has been awarded the National Eczema Association Seal of Acceptance. Not only that, it feels great. It's great for sensitive skin. There are no fragrances whatsoever. It is light, but somehow extremely moisturizing at the same time. Born from over a decade of longevity research, OneSkin's OS1 peptide is proven to target the visible signs of aging, helping you unlock your healthiest skin now and as you age. For a limited time, try OneSkin with 15% off using code MEETYOURBODY at oneskin.co/meetyourbody. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code MEETYOURBODY. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, and please support our show and tell them that we sent you. All right, are you ready? We're going to talk about the most important piece when it comes to getting your kids to move, to have increased activity, to exercise, and have a healthy mindset as they do it and as they age themselves. And do you know what it is? It's you. It's not only you taking the time, like we already discussed, which I know feels like a lot. So I'm here to hold your hand through this. It is you and how you talk about your own body and how you approach your relationship with your body and your relationship to exercise. Okay. It is the time right now, if you haven't already, to start to first watch your words. Kids hear before they even see. They're going to hear what you say. What do you have to say about exercise? What do you have to say about movement? More importantly, what do you have to say about your body? What words do you use when you talk about your body? Do you say a moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips? Do you get on the scale and complain? Do you refuse to look in a mirror? Do you say, oh, I could never wear that? Do you say, oh, exercise just isn't for me? Your kids will hear that. And the more they hear that, and I say this from experience, I say it as a girl who grew up in that house with the women around me making these comments, thinking that I then should hate my body. I grew up thinking that that was the norm, that that's what I was supposed to do. So when exercise or movement or a relationship with my body was introduced to me, I thought, well, that's not for me. I'm not supposed to do that. Women aren't supposed to do that. We're supposed to hate our bodies and we're supposed to punish our bodies because that's what I was told and that's what I heard. And that's what all the messaging was growing up. And if you use those words, even if you just say, well, I'm just using about myself, your kids hear that. Your sons and your daughters hear that. And they think they need to do it too. And or then they put that on other people as well. And I can tell you as a parent going through it right now, the things, especially our girls, as they get older, middle school and high school, the things they sit and talk to each other about around their bodies, you want them to go into that with as much confidence and as much empowerment in their skin as you can. And I am not saying you have to love your body. All right. That is not a message I throw out there. It is great if you can. Okay. But that's a big ask. So I'm not asking that of you. I am asking you to first off, watch your words. around your kids. Don't let them out of your mouth. Do your own work around the words that you say. Not only about yourself, but about other people, because they hear that too. If you see a woman walking, let's say you're at the beach or at the pool, and you see a woman in a swimsuit, and you say, oh, she has no business wearing that. Do you know what the people around you, and especially your kids, think? They think, oh, I better not wear anything worrisome because somebody will say, I don't have any business wearing it. I heard that come out of my daughter's mouth the other day. A shirt that I had found in her closet that I loved because we're the same size, we share clothes. And I had forgotten about. And I said, oh my gosh, where'd this come from? This is so cute. I forgot you had this. She said, I can't pull that off. I said, what? I'm like, of course you can. You can wear whatever you want. No, I can't pull that off, Mom, but you can. All right, we sat and had a 10-minute conversation. That's not the verbiage that she gets to use about herself. Again, I'm not saying I could solve all of her mindset and body issues in 10 minutes, but I'm going to make sure I nip that in the bud. If you have that bias in your head, if you grew up with those messages, make sure that you're doing your own work to not hand that down to the kids in your life. And again, it might be you as a mom, it might be you as a grandma, all right? I see it a lot in grandmas and aunts. If you are any position, a teacher, a healthcare professional, if you have any influence on kiddos, it is vital that you do your own work to not pass those body image and body relationship issues onto them. So that's first. And I know that's a lot. Okay. So that's why I'm walking here with you. I had to do so much of this work in my 20s to break out of what I was raised with. And I am now extra 1,000,000,000% aware of what I am passing on to our own kids. And I'm not always getting it right. But when I don't get it right, I stop and I say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that, or that should not have come out of my mouth, or this is what I meant by that, but I shouldn't have used those words. Like, I will apologize and correct myself and make sure that it is known that that wasn't okay what I said. We're allowed to do that also. So that's part of the work, okay? You have to do work around your words, your mindset, your relationship to your own body. That you say, I feel strong. I feel so strong when I work out. That's why I work out, because I want to feel strong. I never say anything about working out to lose weight. I never say anything about working out to fit into certain clothes. If I hear those words around us ever, I will stop and correct it. I work out. I will tell my kids, I work out to feel strong. I work out so I can play with you. I work out because it makes me feel energized. It actually makes me feel better. I feel so much better when I work out. I work out because it's time for myself. You're allowed to say that. Mommy loves to have time to herself. So I work out because it's time to myself. Our kids saw us be caretakers for my mother-in-law. She had Alzheimer's. She was in a wheelchair the last few years of her life. I work out because I want to do everything I can, because I know grandma would have wanted to use her body if she could. Like, you can use examples, but you have to do that work in yourself. So that's part of it, is the mindset, the words that you use. And then the second piece to that is your own relationship and habits around movement. And here too, you don't have to beat yourself up, okay? Just think and kind of look and say, all right, do the kids in my life see me taking time to move my body? Do they see that it's important to me? Or do they see me avoid it because I choose to do everything else instead? Which I know you might, because you have laundry to fold and you have work to do and you have carpools and you have to take care of elderly parents. I know you have 100 other things to do. But do they see you also prioritizing movement just for yourself? Because they want to be like you. If these kids look up to you in whatever way, again, as a mom, as an aunt, as a grandma, as a healthcare professional, I guarantee you they look up to you. I promise you that. So they see what choices you make. And it is okay if they see you taking time for yourself to go work out. It's okay if you say, you know what, I'm going to let you guys play this game of cards on your own because I'm going to go walk for 20 minutes. Like, our kids know that every single morning I will at some point say, Mom's going to go on a walk. And I walk out that door for 20 minutes and I come back and it is not questioned. And I let go of the idea a long time ago that they were like judging me for not hanging out with them or whatever thoughts that we sometimes have, because that's the only way I can be a good mom is if I take time to do that. And it is okay for them to see that, right? So what are your habits and kind of your mindset, again, around working out? I am not saying, are you doing all the right stuff all the time and lifting your weights? I'm saying, do they see that movement is a priority for you? Because that is what gives them permission to have it be a priority for them growing up. All right. These are like the little nuggets we're leaving them with that will make a difference later on. Right now, what you can do is like the physical, energetic work of, okay, yes, I'll play tag with you. Yes, I'll play freeze tag with you. Yes, I'm going to drive you to the field so we can practice your soccer kicks together. Yes, I'm going to do that, right? Like, it's energy for you to do that. Teach them how to lift weights, get them moving together, whatever it is. It's energy. That's what it is now in the moment. But then also, we have a responsibility that we are setting them up. We are clearing the path for them in the future when they are in their 20s, maybe their late teens, early 20s, maybe even in their 30s. And they say, I have my own kids now and I want to prioritize movement and I can do it because I saw my mom do it. Like, the person I looked up to the most, she did it. And she was okay with it. So that means I can do it too. Like, you are setting up successful attitudes and mindsets for them by doing that. So you're taking the time to give them the space to learn and move and setting up those habits and actually making their muscles strong and all of those things. You're helping their mental health now. And you are setting them up for success in the future. And those are my thoughts around exercise with kids. I know it was probably like it gave you some of the tools you expected. And then also, gosh, I know that's a big ask at the end. I know that. Thank you for sticking with me. I believe in it wholeheartedly. It is one of the tenets of my business, my message, and also my life is making it so that I can give other people permission to have a relationship with their body, to feel empowered and safe in their bodies, which then gives other people permission to do it too, including our kids. So whereas we need to go back, we need to limit screen time, we need to get them outside, right? We need to make it fun. We need to find activities for them to do that we can do with them. Like, those are all the tangible things that we do need to do. We also need to do the work on ourselves because that is generational wealth in and of itself that we can pass on to the kids in our lives. I truly believe that. Thank you for being here. Again, stay tuned next week where we dive into youth sports, even more specifics, because that is a huge piece to our kids' lives right now. And again, it's a way that we can do it to really support them, body, mind, and soul. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks so much for listening today. I would love it if you could take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. It means a lot to us and it helps our content get out to more women who need it. You can find more of my resources at my website, jessicavalant.com, or find me on YouTube at Jessica Valant and Instagram at Jessica S. Valant.